Hey everyone, it's Ari Honeyford with the Awkwardly Zen podcast, and I am so excited today to bring you one of my dear friends and such a respected colleague, especially here in the Denver area, but also worldwide. This is Paula Robbins with Sunlit Pathways. Paula, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I think first thing to start, let's talk about what it is that you do, right? Because you are heavily into the metaphysical world, and also just kind of a like loving coach and all sorts of things. So tell me what it is that or tell everybody else I know what it is that you do.
So I call myself a metaphysician, but it started out as being a hypnotherapist, learning tons and tons about metaphysics and then channeling and then intuition. And prior to stepping into this role of, metaphysician, hypnotherapist, I was in corporate America for 16 years. So I also do a lot of soul coaching, career coaching, purpose coaching, to help people kind of just land in some grounded heart centered walk.
I love that. I love that. When you are doing your work, uh, I've experienced quite a bit of your work and we do an event together every month we do a couple events together every month with Awkwardly Zen and your group. When you're working in that idea of community, because we started Awkwardly Zen as a community and Sunlit Pathways as its own community, and there's a lot of crossover there. What's your favorite part about that side of things, about the community aspect?
I think it's the synergy that we start creating together because there's this curiosity and there's a lot of enthusiasm, and then there's the insight
Mm.
and the intuition and the way that we connect with this thought or that thought, and everybody comes together. I mean, I community is certainly something that means a great deal to me. So thrilled to be a part of the Awkwardly Zen community.
Yeah, and you've been apart with us for quite a while now. I was trying to think this morning about when I actually met you, and it's been a few years now. So, what brought you to Awkwardly Zen? Like, how did you end up a part of the amazing little fold that we have?
One of our favorite little connectors, Kendara Laurel, she wrote me an email and she's like, "You need to know Ari. You need to know about Awkwardly Zen." I'm like, "Oh, I love this name, Awkwardly Zen." So we connected, and that's when you did the cellular release demo for me.
Okay.
And really cool video that's still on my website that I still send people to all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And your website is sunlightpathways.com, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And
and we'll put that.
paularobbins.com. They
Right. All of the above. And we'll put all of those in the write-up for this as well. Why don't you tell everyone just in a nutshell, which is a challenge to do sometimes, but cellular release therapy is such a fascinating modality to me. So can you just quickly tell people just the basics of it?
The simple explanation is it helps people to let go,
Mm.
right? So we hold on to our cellular memory, everything from our present moment all the way through the history of our soul. There's no mistake. The word cell and the word soul are so similar. So, what we do with cellular release in a hypnotic state in trance work, we ask the subconscious permission to release and clear old experiences in the soul that cause fear, limiting beliefs, blocks, pain, worry, name it. So everything that we struggle with in our present day is based on cause and effect. So what's happened to us, what is our experiences? When we start unloading that baggage, we just get a lot lighter, we get way more authentic, we get way more clear. So that's the in a nutshell version.
So what I love about the work that you do and even that video that is out there is that I was honored to kind of step into that role for you because this work that you do can be very personal, right? Can be very soul searching and really allowing some of the things that you might not even know are there to come up. And so I was grateful to work with you on that and also to share something so personal with our community with Awkwardly Zen, because I do think that that's one of the things on my path is that idea of being really authentic and really as transparent as I can be as we go through this. Do you find as you do the work, especially in your group settings and with your community, do you find that that pulls more out of folks, or is there some things people should do privately and some in community?
Both. So, yes, and both.
Right.
Some people really should do the work one-on-one because there's some very detailed specifics
Mm,
relative to certain events that need to be cleared in detail, very specifically to them and their energy. And then there is this really powerful synergy in a group cellular release session that all of the souls that are in it, even over Zoom,
mhm.
is there's this synergy of love and holding space for each other. And I'm releasing, you releasing, let's release.
Yeah.
So it's really, it can be both. And a lot of the people that do the group have also done some one-on-one. So they can really speak to the differences. And I put a lot of that in the testimonials on the group page because it was just really valuable input.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's what's so important with all of our work is that it is deeply personal to each individual client, right? It's helping them figure out what's going to be the best step forward for them. And I find that even with my coaching clients as well, where it's like they'll come in and they'll say, "Well, so what's the plan?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're going to work that out together," because it's so critical to make sure that I'm meeting them where they are, which I think is so beautiful. And you are such a good advocate for those people you work with to help them feel comfortable in their own skin.
My entire goal, I mean, a question that's come up recently with a lot of these types of conversations is what do you want to be known for,
Mm.
right? And earnestly, I'd like to be known for helping people learn to trust life more because there is so much that happens to us in the course of how we walk our life and what we've been through and how we were raised and you name it. So when we start letting go of some of that history and stepping more into the what is, we do become more trusting of the what could be, you know, because we recognize, oh, I've been through a lot. So it is a space that I think so important, but it's the goal is always, you know, let's get to a place of where we have a little more trust and faith in the path that we're walking.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. One of the other things that you focus on, and you and I think, have a shared passion for this, is helping people grow their businesses, especially their metaphysical businesses, but across the board, right? Understanding that business and spirituality don't need to be two separate things.
Right.
So, can you tell me a little bit? I mean, I know you came from the corporate world, I came from the corporate world, so I think that's part of it with both of us. But what is it that drives you to want to help people with that aspect?
It goes back to when I started. So when I very first started work as a hypnotherapist, I had just left corporate America and I spent a lot of time bad mouthing corporate America.
Mm.
It was such a terrible time. It's so corrupt. It's this and that. And then I realized in about 2, 3 years in that I was applying a great deal of my experience and my education and the value of that 16 years to everything that I was doing. And I also knew a lot of conscious professionals, metaphysical practitioners, even people who were still in corporate jobs, but very metaphysically minded, but they were really struggling professionally. And I recognized that there's so much of this that can be married and cross over. Maybe I can help. So that's when I, coined the term consciouspreneur and decided to really step on the path of helping people more professionally marry consciousness and professionalism.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you did. And I think that, it's one of my favorite events that we do on Awkwardly Zen every month. We partnered with Paula, and Paula and Valerie Lewis, who was also on the podcast before, and myself get together and we channel messages and also tap into our own personal experience because I'm right there with you. The all of the things I've done in my life have put me right here for a reason. And so I always get frustrated when I hear someone beating themselves up because a career is not working out and they want to move
Yeah.
on to something else. But we're so trained to do that, to think that we have failed because we want to choose something else. When you chose to step away from corporate America, did you have to go through any of that cycle of I'm not failing, I'm choosing myself?
Over and over again. And I mean, I had never worked harder in my life than when I started my own business. And I didn't even like that term then. I
Mm.
love the term now. I'm a business owner and I'm proud of it. But at the time, I'm a hypnotherapist. And I'm learning how to help people and I want to make an impact and I want to grow my clients. And how can I teach? Maybe I'll do classes. I worked probably 60 to 80 hours a week those first couple of years, just trying to figure out the best way, one, to become profitable and make a living, but also how do I work? Who am I now?
Right.
But it was quite a challenge to determine who am I professionally now. It was a big adjustment, but at the same time, I kept coming back to I know who I am. It was very intuitive and very instinctual. I can't go back. That was when the only thing that was really clear is I can't go back. But the how do I get there and who am I now? That's evolved a lot since 2007.
Yeah, and mine's much more recent than yours, but I also attribute the time that I was, I'm going to say gifted during COVID to stop. I had never stopped in my life. Everything was go, 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 go. And that time period where I couldn't go because I couldn't do my job, really allowed me to kind of establish that I didn't want to go, 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 go. Now, I still go, 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 go. But I am learning more and more every day on how to stop and be like, well, what do I want to do right now? What's going to make me feel the best in my situation and also move my business forward? And I really appreciate that. And I think it helps to connect with like-minded individuals and be able to have those conversations and those gentle reminders that we don't have to be in hustle culture if we don't want to be.
You know, I have to say though, there's times it's really hard to step out of that because I love what I do.
Totally.
So there's a hustle, but it's a hustle I'm digging, I'm hustling because I like it.
Fair.
But every now and again, I get exhausted and I hit the wall and I know that it's like, okay, maybe that's the other kind of hustle I don't like. So I have to kind of sometimes stop and tune in. Which
Yeah.
hustle am I in? The one I like or the one that's kind of bone crushing?
Well, and you bring up such a good point, which is the work never stops, right?
Mm,
And I
yeah.
hear this a lot of times, especially with new folks that come into metaphysics, and they come into awkwardly zen and they're excited about the community and they're asking all these questions, and then usually there's some sort of awakening, right? And or some moment where they all of a sudden understand something in a different way. And so many times I hear this, well, I'm healed. I figured it out. I finally understand. And it's hard for me not to laugh out loud because I'm like, oh, honey. Um, so to me, that's part of the joy of it now, though, is that I get to keep doing the work. I get to keep discovering parts of myself and new ideas and embracing those. You've been on the path longer than I have. You've been doing this longer. Do you still find that it kind of surprises and shocks you all the time?
So I have to tell a quick little story here because
Please.
it's so relevant. I had a client, I don't know, 10 something years ago, who asked me, and she'd known me for a long time. She was somebody who'd seen me around. We weren't friends, but she'd seen me around. So she came to do some hypnotherapy. And she said, so do you think that you're healed? Now, and she knew a lot about my path. I'd done the 12 steps and I've done psychiatry and psychology and Reiki and shaman and cellular release and past life. I mean, I'd done all this stuff.
Right.
And I said to her when she asked the question, do you think you are healed? I said, I hope not. And she got mad. She was like, what? I mean, it really threw her off. What do you mean? And I said, because every time that I come into a new evolution or another layer of something to heal, the enlightenment and that next level of ascension is so cool
Yeah.
that I kind of look forward to it. And it doesn't mean it doesn't suck, because
Right.
sometimes in the heart of a tough, issue, it sucks, right?
Yeah.
But when I get through it or when I see what the value of it was, there's all this light and there's all this kind of like, oh, wow, the revelation is so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find myself laughing at it so much more, right? Like when I'm in the depths of it, instead of it crushing me to bits, so many times I'm like, well, here we are. All right, what are we gonna do? Like, what do we need to do here? Let me go grab that journal. Let me go meditate. And I feel like I'm right there with you in the sense that I can't imagine a time where that will not be a part of my existence. I do think it gets easier in so many aspects to understand and get through the worst parts of those moments. But I say that now, and that might not feel that way soon. You know, I'm blessed. I have both parents, and I have all these things, and there's some heartache that's headed my way. I have a different point of view on it now, and I think that's the beautiful part of the spiritual path is knowing that I get to choose so much about how I believe and what I think in my life,
Mhm.
which I think is such a beautiful thing. Um, okay, so as you are looking forward into the future and you're like, okay, there's stuff happening. One, let's first acknowledge that you just got married to a lovely, lovely man. So before we head into the future, let's talk about the present. For all those folks out there who are like, oh, I'm too old for this, or oh, I can't do this, or we hear it all the time, right? Like, I, I'm never gonna get married again. I'm never gonna be in love again. I'm never gonna do that. Here you are with your Prince Charming. I literally have a picture of them dressed as a king and a queen. So here you are. How how did that manifest in your life? What steps did you take to create this beautiful relationship with you?
What a great question. And thanks for asking it. I turned 50. I'd been through a ton of relationships and a lot of, again, value and wonderful experience and love and play. And it was good, but nothing was like life partner. Nothing was let's grow old together. It just didn't work out.
Mm,
And I remember hitting 50 and I came to this place of, okay, if I'm intended to be single and to do this work and live this way, God, I'm cool with that. I really like the work I do. I like my single life. I'm really content in my own skin and I like to take myself on dates. So I'm good. And it was like this place of acceptance and self love that was unlike any other place I'd been in my dating life, in my relationships, in my history as a mother. And then I met my best friend. And I met somebody who had just so much resonance because I had chosen, I'm not ever dating again or being in a relationship again unless it's really just right. He
mm,
ain't Prince Charming, he ain't.
mhm,
and, and then there he was. He had also just turned 50. And we didn't date for about a year. We just became friends. And shortly around him turning 51, when we really did step into like, wow, we've got like something here. Whoa, what a cool ride it's been. I mean, now we're 56 and 57. That was 6 years ago. And well, almost seven. And I just am so grateful that one, I did my work.
mm,
And two, I came into this place of self honor and self acceptance and self love that really attracted somebody. And it is never too late.
mhm.
I really did. I had that thought. Maybe it's too late. I guess I'm just going to be single forever. It's okay. Maybe I'll get a bird.
Maybe get a bird. Everyone's like, I'll get a cat. Paul's like, no, I'll get a bird.
I
You know,
talk.
I feel like there's so many people who I hear that exact story where it's this idea of we spend so much of our lives searching for the other, right? And trying to get someone to fill a hole in us when at least my belief right now is that we are the ones that fill that hole. We are the ones that get to make ourselves whole. And when we are feeling more whole is when we attract those people who don't fill us in but lift us up or walk with us, who support us in that way, which I think is so beautiful. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that we come into a place, it's very similar just to the language around the law of attraction, right? I attracted a partner who was getting very clear in his own soul of who he wanted to be, how he wanted to live, what he didn't want
Mm.
to go through or be anymore, because he had his own set of growth experiences. And, here we are.
Right. Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. Hopefully giving some hope to our single friends out there. So as you look into the future, what is next for Paula Robbins and Sunlit Pathways?
Oh, so the Lighthouse is my baby right now, the membership. And I really love what has been built there as far as community. And, you know, with the membership, they have access to this huge database of all this history and stuff that I've built over this last few years of classes and meditations and you name it. And then they have all these cool gatherings with you and with Awkwardly Zen and the group hypnotherapy. And I'm just loving kind of the little dynamics that the people are building. So I want to keep building on that for sure.
Oh,
And then I want to write my books. I've been talking about authoring some books, and I've had a book series in my head for decades. And I haven't made the time. It's not that I haven't had the time, but I've been in a different hustle. So it's the books.
yeah.
I will probably see clients until I'm much more gray than I am. But because I do love the one-on-one. So I'll keep seeing clients, I'll keep doing sessions one-on-one, but I want to build the community and I want to really get to a place where the books are written and I'm speaking more and I'm able to teach and just, hopefully create a bigger impact than I have.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that there's so many of us being called into creation right now, creating things, whether it's books or videos or classes or whatever, to help with the collective and the energy of the collective. And I'm really enjoying watching people step into that. So I cannot wait to read your books, for
Cannot
sure.
wait to write them.
All right. So, any last thoughts that you just wish that people knew, or things that have been going on in your brain about metaphysics, about spirituality right now?
The term that comes to mind when you ask that question is keep it simple.
Mm,
And that is go back to that place of trust and in faith that you are held, that you are guided, that you are loved, that you are protected. And if you can make the time every day to go inward and kind of explore your inner world, one, you will build quite a castle in there if you go in every day and work at it. And two, that inner world, that castle in there is really going to reflect in your outer world. But one of the biggest keys to the front door is faith and trust.
mm,
If you think about all of the religious or spiritual doctrines ever written, and there's thousands, there's two things that are in common in all of them. One is divine light. They all talk about it. Anything that you can pick up spiritually, metaphysically in writing talks about light, but they all also speak about faith. So there's a real key in just stepping into a place of I trust. I am. It
yeah.
will be okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for those thoughts. I appreciate that. So, Paula, where's the best place for people to find you? And we'll put this in the show notes as well.
Um, the easiest place is just Paula Robbins, because that's my name. So paularobbins.com will lead you to Sunlit Pathways. And then there's all the pathways that you can explore and decide where is the light for you.
Absolutely. And go check that out, you guys. She has so many things to offer, and her membership with the Lighthouse is so amazing and so affordable. And I love that. You can also find her on the Awkwardly Zen Partners page because she is one of our beloved partners. So, as always, you can go there and find a lot of the people we chat with on the podcast here. Paula, thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing your insight and your love and your heart. I just always love spending time with you.
Back at you, sister. I love the friendship that we've built. I love the community that we're a part of. And what you've done is nothing short of amazing, not just in creating Awkwardly Zen, but creating just this amazing team of people that run it and are creating such a cool impact around the world. You know, I'm so grateful to for
Well,
the friendship, the sisterhood, the community, all of it.
thank you.
So
I appreciate that. And I will take my part in that, but also you hit the nail on the head that there's a whole team of people who make it happen. And thank goodness, because I couldn't do it all on my own. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Paula. And we'll see you again soon, I hope.
we sure will.